Alright. Okay. So now, so I'm just gonna continue what I was saying. So this is a continuation about Savage Beauty. It's on Netflix. It's two seasons of it. I believe both seasons have it. I want to say it is 7 episodes each season. So and they're not long, but they're not short either. So that's a good thing. Now, y'all, the mom was really like, sis was getting on my nerves. It's like you know. It's like, see, I don't like this. I don't want to say this without. I'm not shaming nobody. I'm not, because my goal is to. I want to empower women in general. Right. I want everybody to love themselves enough to know when what not to deal with and what is okay. And my whole thing is, you signed up for that. You knew what kind of man you married at the end of the day. And then she also knew that, he also was sleeping with prostitutes and things like that too. And he had another girl that he was messing with. Her name was Ruby. The wife, literally goes to the hotel and actually threatens the girl to leave him alone, leave, literally, and stuff. So the girl does that. She leaves, she disappears. And because what happened was, while him and the girl Ruby was doing the do, this dude has a heart attack. So that was another thing, because obviously she had to ask, who he was with, all that stuff, because he clearly wasn't with her. So there's that thing. And then the mom had a really, it's like, when some people that are in higher positions of authority and power, a lot of that power goes to their heads and their ego, and mixed with ego and insecurities and low self-worth and low self-esteem. Really, really, especially for women, can really put you in a crazy position behind a man, and will really leave you heartbroken. You don't even know who you are anymore, things like that. So, and then she also had this big thing about how everything would look, because they had a really big makeup company, and she was real big on the optics, on the image. So it was also given a little bit of scandal, because the stuff that they do behind the scenes, and you don't really hear about, and they pay people off, or they actually go out and do their dirty work, where they cut off those people, or they get rid of them. You know what I mean by that. Or they pay them off, to go away or go in hiding, and and then you never hear of them again, or the scandal or whatever they brought up, or you just don't hear about them at all, so it don't come out, period. So yeah, so mom was on that type time, as well as she had her other things going on. She wanted to be actual CEO and actually, run the company. It was a lot of that going on, like, empire type stuff, where she wanna basically get him thrown off. Well, not, I'm not gonna say she really wanted to get him thrown off, but she either wanted to dethrone him and either push the son to be CEO or her to be CEO. And like I said, he also had a daughter that, she was gay, but he didn't really, it was like he wanted her to be in command next, but not really. And then he tested them by, showing them that they also they did what elite. I'm not gonna, don't quote me on this, y'all. My memory sometimes is 100% when I'm not actually watching. But then I don't like to actually record while I'm watching, because then I'll lose parts and things like that. So, alright, so I got this side sewed up. But see, you look a little raggedy. But it's cool. Because that's what I mean by I might go over it anyway. Or I also did think about adding the arms again. Adding the arms back and making it like a hug me type of thing. Like that type thing. But that's neither here nor there, right? And then because, as you can see, I'm trying to match the colors a little bit too at the same time. So yeah, that was a thing too. The mom was definitely doing a lot of, she did a lot of next level stuff too, because the girl, I can't remember if her name was it wasn't Zatima. It wasn't that, but it was something like, and it wasn't Zakia, nothing like that. It was like Zen something. She had a very unique name, but it was with a Z, and she was the face of the company. And they didn't really give a backstory on how they picked her to be the model of the face of their company. And like I said in the first video, one of their sons started taking a liking to her, and then he was more, into photography, not really into the whole family business aspect. So he was on that route, and he wound up going, and like I said, they wound up liking each other. And then he actually started taking her pictures, and the mom started liking his pictures of her better. So then she had them two kind of filming together and doing their thing. And then that led to them actually going away, them actually really, y'all, that was, I can't even say that was love bombing at its finest, but it was given a guy who runs into a very unique girl, maybe a girl that he's really never seen outside of, their unit. And now he falls in love with this girl instantly, and they, they went away. It was for business, but they went, business and pleasure type. And that's what I meant by, I said, I thought sis was going to be pregnant by the end of that joint, because that's how much they was, And as soon as they got back, sis was like, yeah, no. She really said to him, yeah, no, I'm not on that. But that's because she came in there with a plan too. She wanted to kill the husband because when the husband and wife first started their company, of course they were testing their products on children, and that left them with chemical burns and things like that. So the girl, she actually did have a chemical burn on her skin. And not only did they have a not only did they have very bad rashes from that, they actually went into, like, the husband and wife actually went into the home. It was the girl, it was her brother, and I believe they had a sister. The sister wound up dying from whatever the products had in it. And then um from there, the then they actually set the home on fire with the kids in it, y'all. With the fucking kids in it. Oh, sorry. Damn. But no. So as normal, as regular, the three of the kids wound up getting out. They wound up getting out, so they actually was never killed in the fire. And then naturally they grow up and they want revenge, and that's what happened. The one girl went on, and she got close to the family, things like that. So she was really trying to off that dude from the rip. So she really didn't want to she didn't want to hurt the boy's feelings. I will say that, because I do believe that she actually did really like him too, but she had a mission and she was on it. So, like I said, so because she got it a little bit closer, she started leaking some of the things that was, like, basically leaking info to the press and stuff. And then it would come up in the papers, and then the mom would be pissed. Like, when I tell you the mom was pissed, because optics. Remember, I told you she's all about image and, the reputation, the brand, which I fully understand, being, a small business owner of my own, trying to get my stuff going and all that stuff. So I genuinely, not just because of that, but I genuinely try to treat people the way I would like to be treated, which some folks say that's naive, but for me it's not, because I'm going to be blessed regardless. And word of mouth really does help you in the long run. Especially when you are, genuine. You're true. Like, you're not just out here, scamming and lying and, treating folks like shit and all that stuff. Okay, my bad. But anyway, so, but that's another thing, right? I never wanted, call me cliche, but ever since I was a teenager, literally, this was maybe a few months or so before I actually did wind up getting pregnant with my daughter. I was 18 when I had my first child. 18 going on 19. So I had made a decision. I didn't want to be sitting around doing nothing with my life. I wanted to be something. I knew that I was going to be something, or just do something, right? And I just always made it my business to just, like I said, always just treat people with respect. You never know. Like, I never wanted to, get somewhere in life and something crazy come back to tarnish my reputation or my brand or anything like that. Now, that obviously does not stop, people who just naturally don't, I can't even, everybody is not for everybody, and everything isn't for everybody. Everything isn't for everybody. Just because I like something, that does not mean that somebody else has to like it. Just because, someone else like things, that does not mean I have to like it. Everybody is entitled to their own opinions. There are going to be, things that people like, things that people don't like. That does not mean that you know, a bad business person or a bad person at all. That just means that that person didn't like me for whatever reason. And then I've always been a firm believer in, you can't always take what someone else says or what you hear about someone else to uh to heart, because you don't know who you're actually hearing that from. You know, you could be hearing that from somebody that's just jealous and never liked that person from the get go. You could be hearing that from somebody that actually did this person wrong, but they're upset because that person cut them off, and now they want to play victim. And now they want everybody else to look at them as if, they're not in the wrong for what happened. So they're gonna try to ruin that person's life. So you got to be careful. You got people out here that, you heard it. I'm sure everybody has heard of this expression: hurt people hurt people. You have people out here like myself where my misery don't like company. So when I'm not feeling it and I ain't in the mood, I'm not in the best of, vibes or anything, I don't want to be around nobody. I don't, I'm not out here dumping on people, telling anybody about anything that's going on with me. One because I really just genuinely don't even trust people like that, if that even makes any sense. Which is crazy, to be a genuine person that is always there to listen and help, and be a helpful and listening ear for other people, and that's always looking to make someone else's day not be okay with venting to other people, or even just asking for help, even wanting help, because you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So many people out here have a hidden agenda, and you really just never know. Granted, like I said, I try not to even judge nobody. I try to just, I, I wait and see. I wait and get my own impression of a person before I usually make a decision. But some days, no. But no, my intuition has never, 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 ever, ever actually stood me wrong about a person. Sometimes those times were just the times that I went against it, was literally me going against myself, and me just being a forgiving person, and me being so empathetic, and you know what I'm saying, to just life in general. And that we all know that there actually are people struggling with those things, that genuinely need help, or genuinely need the friendship, and genuinely want it. But there's people out here that's going to take advantage because they either never had it, or they just see it as an opportunity. And that's where people get messed up at. But that's besides the point, right? But I've actually learned over the past few years, honestly, the music you listen to, the movies we listen to, TV shows, all of that, a lot of times they have either, if it's not a lesson, it's definitely a message. Does it mean that message is for you? Sometimes it ain't. Sometimes it's not that. But if you actually are watching something and you actually can pinpoint that in your life and be like, you know what? I need to change some things in my own personal Because that situation, you know what I'm saying? That's looking a little too close to home. And that's not a bad thing either. That just means that you're aware and you're taking accountability for the decisions that you made in your life, and that you want to change those things. However, you get people like how I was just saying, who are not only are they either money hungry, but sometimes, especially for us women, a lot of times we'll get out of abusive or toxic family dynamics or toxic family, and then we meet a man and they're, like, they just seem like to be our knight in shining armor, and then they flip once they get you, and then you still stay compelled to stay there because that's the only lifeline you got outside of your family that already did you crazy, that already done did you dirty, they probably done, so you get that, and then you wind up either suppressing a lot of your feelings, because that's what you're going to do to keep going every day and to keep living life and going on and everything like that, until sometimes it's something that just triggers you and you gotta address it. You have to address it. And then, like I said, you get into a situation like that, and then it's almost like they groom you to tolerate that behavior. And not only do you wind up having to put on a thick skin as a black woman, or just as a woman in general, right? And then, so in the public eye, this woman is putting on this front, right? That she's this powerful wife, mother, she's a amazing businesswoman, which I'm not, that was a good standpoint. But then behind closed doors, she's actually very, very, she has very, very low self-esteem. She's insecure because she married this man. She has been faithful to this man the entire time, and this man has went out and cheated and married another woman, and then even with that woman, now he's still out, touching other women, but he won't even look at her, not, he won't look at her, he won't touch her, no nothing. That builds up, that constantly builds up. Then that makes her envious of all of the women that he is doing these things with, when in reality, yes, in reality, her anger should be with that man and not the women. Even if they do know, even if they did know, that's not really up to them. That man married you. He made that vow. He should be the one to stick to those vows. He got to stick to that, because that's what he wanted anyway. And he's the one that's supposed to be devoted to you and faithful to you and loyal to you the same way you are loyal and all that to him. However, we see all the time, sometimes that's not even our fault. It just means that you could be the whole package and you just deliver to the wrong address. But then that goes, how long are you going to stay in a relationship?
Right there.
What?
We asked where was you at, and I look in the house.